Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Happy big announcement day. Today we have some big news. And I have to be honest because I haven't been this excited about a camera announcement since the original Red One was announced and it would be available to most people, like cinema quality at a price that was nearly attainable by most people. So Nikon's announcement today that they are acquiring Red Digital Cinema, or it's becoming a subsidiary of Nikon, is pretty big news. And a lot of people were like, "Oh my goodness! Like Nikon has that kind of money that they can buy Red, and why is Red being bought out? What happened?" And there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to kind of go through because Red Cinema, as good of a camera company as I think they are, they probably have maximized the amount of people that they will be able to reach. So and now they're kind of hoping for people to keep buying their cameras, but they can't buy it at the level that they were hoping for initially. Hold on, where's my comments? I don't see my, there they are. Bam. Yeah. Hello, hello. Hey Marius, how's it going? Quite the news indeed. It is a big jump. Nikon, surprisingly, Nikon, a lot of people don't notice, and I was surprised because I was reading a lot of the news articles talking about it. A lot of people didn't know that Nikon did more than just cameras. They have a huge other part of their company, just like Sony does, just like Canon, where they work with medical imaging. They work with a lot of high-end industries that pay top dollar to get precise measurements and imagery, not only in the photography space, but yeah, they do a lot of medical imagery. They do some pretty big things that pays the bills. Their camera portion is just the trickle down of all the research and development that they did for all these high-end commercial businesses that are now have gotten to a lot of their consumer products. Mostly, it's here. Let's bring it up. How about we do that? We're gonna share my screen. I want to make sure that I'm looking at the right thing. Boop, bop. Where did that go? I'm gonna share my screen so I can show you guys. Where is this? It's over here. So, share screen. What are we sharing? There we go. That's good. Like that. All right. Let's move this over here. So, I'm gonna publish. So you guys should be seeing what I'm seeing. Oh, that was good. So we have Nikon as, they're front-facing, which is the consumer. But look, the very first thing that they bring up is the business. And so when you go to business, you actually see that they have lots of big markets. And when I was working for in product development, we reached out to a lot of these companies. I worked with a lot of these companies. Where's I see myself. Viewer numbers. Boop. Oh, I don't. For some reason, they don't want to. I don't want to come up in my own thing. Oops, I'm double up. There we go. Audio is echoing. Yeah, thank you. I'm figuring. I got excited, so I wanted to bring this up. Definitely wanted to bring this up, and I'm gonna switch this to just show Safari. Boom. So a lot a lot of the work that I did in product development, because we were working with imagery as well. So we reached out to a lot of these companies, and some of the products that they have on here go into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and sometimes even more, depending on what they're doing. So Nikon has a way to bankroll. I want to mute that. Why can't I mute that? Am I still echoing? Let me know. So Nikon has a way. Nikon has a way to bankroll everything that Red wants to do. Because Red, I think, was getting to a point, there may be like 2 or 3 years out, where they would have started losing a good chunk of cash. Still echoing. Why can't? Here, let's try this. I can't stop it. Okay, now I have no audio except for one. Will mute. It's Ecamm. You're not making me feel great. It's Ecamm is telling me that I'm going to mute. Okay, so it's a little bit better. Hopefully. Let's see. So, no more echo. Thank you, I appreciate that. All right, let's get back into it. Let's chat about this. So I remember, so like one of these, like say if they're going with these X-rays or CT scanners, they wouldn't just sell one. They would sell like a dozen or 2 dozens. Why won't it let me mute? Will mute. Well, like, what does that mean? I don't understand. Okay. I don't know. I'm just going to get rid of that. How about that? That should be gone. It should be good. That should be better. Yes? Yes? Good? Good? Let's talk about this. I'm excited about this. Let's do this. Okay. No more echoing. I like that. Let's do this one thing. Oh, I can't even get rid of that. Okay. So, a lot of people are saying like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would they buy it? Well, from Nikon's perspective, they've fallen behind on the consumer front and on the cinema space front. And they've tried with the Nikon Z. They've tried to do their version of their, their hybrid cameras, but people weren't interested that much. Like, they got a little bit of excitement and then it kind of petered out because they don't have a good track history of maintaining their video portion on their cameras. So they knew that they had to do something to compete because Canon and Sony were like eating their lunch, even Panasonic. And on the video side, Blackmagic was getting really good cameras at a kind of consumer level cost. So they needed to do something big. They needed to do something that was going to change the direction. And why am I doubling up? I'm too excited. There's too many things to hit. Anyways, so here we go. I'm back. I'm sorry. Sorry. Too excited. Too excited. All right. I'm excited because Nikon was my first camera. Nikon was my first several cameras. I had a Coolpix way back when. It was this weird transforming kind of camera that I started with. Then I moved on to the D series of, I don't even remember at this point. But that's where I learned. That's what I learned on when it came to photography. This was even before digital cinema, digital stills. Um, so I loved the process because that's what I learned on. That's what I was most excited about. So when I couldn't find another camera to kind of compete when the Canon 5D Mark II came out, that it had video capabilities as well, my mind was like, oh, well, that's great. I hope Canon does something as well. Or sorry, Nikon does something well, but they didn't for a while, or at least they couldn't compete at that same level, where it was a full frame, sensor readout in 1080p, and you can get all this great stuff. And you know, we all remember the videos that came out, but and then that kind of progressed, and then Red announced the Red 1, which was mind-boggling to say the least for someone that went to film school, that was working in film, that saw the cost of how much it was to do film work. I remember my first year of university, I spent like $10,000 just on film and processing, which was crazy for someone that was in university. So the fact that this came out and they were essentially you can shoot as much as you want and use what you need, and it only had to pay for the storage, which they kind of had everything. Everything was expensive, but like once you had it, you could just reuse it nonstop. So having access to that kind of technology from Nikon's perspective, they're going to just leapfrog so many people in terms of the image quality, and not only RAW, because a year ago Nikon and Red were battling out for the Red RAW codec, which Red lost, but then they sold to Nikon. And here's my thinking of it. This is my read on what happened. Nikon's cameras they developed their own RAW recording internally, and they have it working, and it's working well. But for them to use the patent that Red had, it would allow them to do even more, and again, just leapfrog into an industry that they had no business being in, because they're already working in these big customer applications, medical, all the other optical measuring, video measuring, laser radar measuring systems. Like, they have a huge network and research and development. So if they can take Red's proprietary codecs and workflow and even their sensor, and then over the next couple of years kind of merge it, not only is it going to benefit the consumer products or even the film industry products, but they're going to be able to put this into those higher end cash cow industries that we're never going to see. Like, we're never going to hear the advancements that they're going to be able to do. So Red will continue being its own thing, but having the ability to have raw readouts built directly into their other big systems is going to be a huge win for them. Like, they saw it, and they saw it as an opportunity to not only enter into a product category that they weren't going to be in, or they would need to spend nearly as much to get there, not only build the trust and take a decade to get there, or just pay for it. If you can't beat them, buy them. That was a tweet by someone, or an X, or a post, or a Twex, or whatever it's called. But I'm excited about it, because does this mean I would go to my first love in photography, back to Nikon? Because I was not thinking about using Nikon at all. Like, there was no scenario where I'm like, yeah, I'll buy a Nikon. If it was just purely photography, it wouldn't be a big deal. I wouldn't be against it. But because I want a hybrid camera that I can take with me, and it shoots great video and great photos, but also have great lens technology. And what's going to happen with the lenses? Like, because right now Red has a whole ecosystem of the RF lenses, which I'm pretty sure they're paying royalties for every time they release a camera or they sell a camera. A portion of that has to go to Canon for the RF mount. So I do predict that in the next 2 years, Red will kind of sell out of its inventory of RF mounts with a lot of the cameras that they have, and they'll introduce the Nikon mount, and they'll have an option for people that want to continue buying and upgrading the Red cameras like the Komodo and others to the RF mount, but it's going to be a separate cost, which will have the fee baked into it. That way people are just paying for it, but they're not having to pay on every single unit that they sell. Does that make sense? That makes sense. But what are your thoughts? Like, are you guys excited about it? Are you guys interested in that? Let's see what's happening here. Okay, So when I first saw the announcement, here, let's go to this, and then we go to screen sharing. I should be there. Should still be able to hear me. No echo. Fantastic. Bring myself up. And there we go. Make myself a little bit bigger, perhaps. That's fine. So when I read this, they're both talking fluff about how great the other industry is and how great the other camera company is. But it's so much bigger than this. Like because they're battling out and they weren't buddies and they weren't friends, because Nikon's like, we're not going to listen to your patent. We think it's invalid. But so there must have been talks beyond that where Nikon kind of went like, wait, instead of fighting them, how much would it cost just to buy them out? And then that's why I think the suit was like, as soon as it was dismissed, they moved on to like, how do we get what we want without having to fight them? Because there's something in the technology, because they were licensing it for a long time. So they probably had conversations even before that. See, right there. See, Red's knowledge in cinema cameras, including unique image processing technologies and color science, that in and on itself is more important in the industrial sense than it would be just in the cinema sense. Like, yes, guarantee you there will be a Red developed, co-developed Nikon camera, or it'll still be Red. But like, they're going to share knowledge, but I think Nikon was more interested in the deeper integration, the stuff that we're never going to see, like I said before. So that's the part that I'm excited about, where what kind of big moves are these going to be? Like, a lot of people are looking from the purely consumer base, like, wow, my next hybrid is going to be amazing. Maybe. But I don't think that's going to happen as quickly as most start, because Red is going to continue just being Red and Nikon is going to be Nikon. So they'll eventually get to a point where, like, minimum 2 years from now, there'll be some kind of development, but nothing soon. Maybe the first development will be just Red or Nikon internal recording, raw recording internally. I think that'll be the first big move, but even that isn't going to be until next NAB. It could be as soon as this NAB, if they were already talking about it and the plan was in motion and they started developing that. There could be an announcement, but it's not going to be a camera. It's not going to be anything big. Now, because Red also holds the patent and now Nikon has their own version of uncompressed, I wonder how that's going to play out. Are they going to license it to other people, to other players? Like it's good. It's exciting because I never thought I would be as excited for Nikon. Like I instantly brought back to my teenage self having that Nikon camera and just like discovering photography. My first video camera though, I'm pretty sure was a Canon that my grandmother had, like camcorder. It was a Canon camcorder. But the first photo camera, the first one that was truly mine, that I bought just so I can play and I can do all that kind of stuff, was a Nikon. And then the first DSLR was also a Nikon. My first few SLRs were Nikons as well. So because of that little connection and of Red, my connection with Red, and having one of the first few, having access to one of the first few Red cameras in Canada when they first came out, and helping my friend shoot his first major feature on this camera. That was cinema quality, 4K, like craziness. So I'm excited. I read this and I was like, wait, what? Like it made no sense initially because I'm like, I think I was surprised just like most people where it felt like it came out of the blue. But yeah, they have biological microscopes, fundus camera. I don't know what that is. But yeah, so this is where they make their money. So I think this is more a benefit to Red than it is Nikon. Nikon definitely has a reason for getting it, but Red is going to get access to all these R&D people and the amount of engineers and not data scientists, but like engineers and scientists that are just going to take Red and just make it even better. So will Red slowly turn into the camera company that everyone turns to, because ARRI is the de facto standard in cinema quality. But again, with Nikon's R&D budget and resources, Red can do some pretty cool stuff. Like the benefit to Nikon is probably on this back end and trying to jump into a product category that they weren't going to do. Like they don't have any cinema stuff here. They have industrial lenses, but again, it's not like you don't see any of that stuff here. So they're immediately now can put cinema, film and television as one of their categories, because from their perspective, if they're going to sell to a production or to a studio, they're not going to sell one camera. They're going to sell a dozen at a time. So it's just going to fit nicely into their sales, which they probably have a huge team comparatively, because I think Red is at like 200 people mostly at this point. Like that's their max. But I think that that Red saw the writing on the wall that they need to do a big move to be able to continue doing this and keep their legacy, because there will be a point where it wouldn't be sustainable enough, because Red only has the cameras. They tried the phone, it failed, but now they can do more. Now they can kind of get back in the game, which is cool, which is fantastic. All right. Let's do this and use the loop deck. Yeah. So I've been playing around with this thing. This is a pretty cool thing. If you haven't checked out the video, I just made it. What's this? Why am I still on here? I gotta make a button just to bring myself up with that. Anyways, so what are your thoughts? Are you excited about the Nikon? Are you excited to watch I switched to Nikon videos? Long-time Canon user switches to Nikon. Long-time Sony user switches to Nikon. Red user switches to Nikon. Just It doesn't matter, but it's going to get interesting, because it's like that whole cycle is going to happen again. That's what it feels like. That's how I feel. That's what I feel is going to happen. All right, that's it. I just wanted to chat about that, get your guys' thoughts, see how you guys were thinking. And my TV is going crazy. I think it's possessed. All my stuff is possessed. I had some time at lunch that I wanted to come and talk with you guys and share my thoughts on the juicy news that is Nikon and Red joining forces. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Happy Thursday, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.